Oh my word, we got amazing things happening in Dublin our radio. We've been working hard in the background as well. Hope you're having a great Sunday. It's Candid Expression Sunday here on Dublin our radio. And also, we got a new voice on air today. I don't know, is she going to be here for a long time or is it a short time? Who knows? I introduce to you the one and only. Oh my gosh, can I say it? Can I say it? What's her name?
Fumz.
It's Fumz. That was so. That was so. No, let's do that again.
Right.
Let's do that again. Who do we have on the show today?
Fumz. Fumz.
Fumz. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. We have one and only Fumz on the show today on Candid Expression Sunday. It's one of those ones we thought, you know what? It's been a minute. It's been a second. And Fumz is the lady who loves to converse, who likes to engage, who likes to share her thoughts as well. But what can I say? Shall I be worried about Fumz taking over the airways? Who knows? We also have a big shout out to Fumi, Lady Fumi as well. I'm sure she's listening in and so also at the moment. That's our amazing Candid Expression Sunday presenter as well. We missed her as well. Hope she's well. Hope she's doing good as well. Fums, how are you today though? How are you doing?
Double nine. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, we're happy to have you here as well. You know, what's the week been like for you? What's the week been like for you? I mean, look at the weather; it's amazing today, isn't it? And you're here telling us a wonderful guest. Oh, should I say guest? What am I saying, guest? I'm so excited. I'm saying gibberish today. For me, look at what you're doing to me. How can I manage this? So, how's your week been anyway?
Not bad, not bad. Apart from I'm traveling to the Victoria Court station. Everything was pretty chill, but yeah, fine.
Okay, fine, fantastic. Do you enjoy the weather today, though?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah,
it was cool. Did you go to church today?
No, I should have gone to church. Look at you, you're baiting me out already. You are baiting me out. I'm a bit worried now. Look at Lacey Jones, she's already baiting me out already.
Not judging you, don't worry.
Did you go to church, though? Did you go to church?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
fantastic. Okay, I'm sure you pray for us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the show is always interactive, so you can always be part of the show on 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. I said again, it's 074 956 36899. If you're calling from out of the UK, all you need to do is just add +4474 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number or send a WhatsApp. You know we love to talk, we love to engage and have conversations. So, Fumz, man, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about? What's the exciting thing about Candid Expression Sunday? What have you got for us?
So the exciting thing we're talking about today is JAPA. And it's not just JAPA as we know it. It's JAPA, the expectation versus reality.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. I'm so excited. You know, I've heard that word, JAPA. I always wondered, what is JAPA? But before we actually get there, we're all going to be talking about the expectations of reality as well. Mm-hmm. I know. People all have this expectations about things. I do sometimes as well. Mm-hmm. It's like when I go to McDonald's or something. Oh my God, I'm not advertising. Oh no, ignore that, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we're going to get back to the topic. Okay, Fumz, what is JAPA? It's spelled JAPA, isn't it?
Yeah, perfect. It's spelled JAPA. And for people who don't know, JAPA wasn't just a buzzword that just was bestowed upon us from above. It's a Yoruba word and it means to run away.
Run away.
Yes. So the literal meaning is to run away. However, there's so much meaning behind the word JAPA. It's not just to run away. It's just to go and search for greener pastures. Exactly. So, yeah.
Okay. Run away, searching for greener pastures. Mm-hmm. Wow. So amazing. So people like to run away. Why they're running away?
Honestly, I would say it's unfair to say that people are running away, and that's why I say that it's not just JAPA as we know it. I would say that because it's a buzzword, yeah. But people want to see what's on the other side of the divide. Or they say the grass looks greener on the other side. Okay, then let me see what's on the other side. And Double Nine, as you know, today the other side, we've got the context of the other side today is going to be the United Kingdom. Okay. Yes. Okay,
that's fantastic. Okay, we're going to find out a bit more about JAPA as well. And all of that, you know, I mean, this is a topic you decided to talk about today on Candid Expression Sunday. And as you know, Candid Expression Sunday, we keep it live, we keep it lovely and spicy. And I'm trying not to say all this, not a word.
Spicy.
I know. We try and keep it straightforward,
right?
And straight to the point as well. But as you know, we always have to say this as well. You know, everyone has their little opinions. We're sharing our own opinions as well. If you have yours, just call in and share with us. His number is 074 956 36899. You can call us direct on that number, send a text, or also call via WhatsApp as well. I mean, okay, you said JAPA, the word JAPA is people going away and trying to find that greener pasture in this context, isn't it? In this context, because when you say run away, I could run away from fatty food as well. Like, oh my God, I can't eat that food. I need to run away. I'm trying to get my six pack coming through as well. I'm sure you can see my six pack coming.
Of course, I can.
Yes. See, she's not.
It's one pack though.
I'm going to ignore that. Moving on. So, anyway, let's talk about. So we talk about JAPA from the context of people running away and finding greener pastures, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so are we looking at people specifically from a particular country, or are we looking at people from generally in Africa? Because you talk about United Kingdom. Yes, there's been a lot of immigration coming. A lot of people coming into the UK, obviously find greener pastures and all of that. Is it just that? Is that the only reason people actually embark on the JAPA journey?
I wouldn't say it's only because of that. And it's important to note that people are not running away. People just want to, get a better life, then at some point then go back. Because I think that it was when we started, following the narrative of running away that it started to look like there was something really deep about this JAPA thing. Every day people emigrate and people move to other countries. Yeah. And, by the time they found what they're looking for, they try to go back and set up, whatever they want to do back in their home country. So better education, better life, trying to get exposure into all the cultural integration. It's one of the many reasons people JAPA, yes.
Yeah, you talk about better education, better infrastructure,
yes,
and all of that. I hear that, but there's been a lot of, there's negativity, there's positive stories out there, and all of that. The reason people do it is one of the things I think about sometimes, because it's like living sometimes your comfort zone and coming to a very different country where it's like the culture change is different, and you mentioned that it's not always because people are looking for greener pastures. So do people also get influenced by, because my neighbor is doing it, because my friend is doing it?
Agree. Yes,
I want to do that.
Yes, that there's. In fact, I think if we go back to the past 2 years, I think majority of people who make that decision made it based on the pressure from like their peer groups, because it was just the only conversation people were having like back home then. Yeah, so you're in a group of friends, 4 of your friends have left the country, you're there alone saying, oh, this would be better, this would be good, and you're like, you begin to question yourself, like, this is not making sense anymore. At what point would I say, okay, I need to make this move? And you could see that when people leave for better education and better opportunities, they come back and they do better in the country. They come back home and they do better. People, like, they get better opportunities than when they just had certifications from just the country, because now you're well traveled. Now you have other knowledge about, other countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you just mentioned there, that, they do better and all of that. So this brings us nicely into the conversation about expectations and reality.
Yeah.
So the expectation is you leave your country, and you try to find, for greener pastures. You come into a country. Sometimes a lot of people don't do research.
No.
They just want to come in, see what the country is like.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some sensitive things. Just popped in my mind, because some things are on the news the other day. Obviously, we're never going to point out individuals' names or anything like that.
Right.
They come into the country looking for greener pastures, because, as you mentioned, a lot of people emigrate all the time. It always happens. But it's just, in particular, there's been a lot of negative views or negative things happening out there in there. Why do you think all this negativity around emigration has occurred?
I think that the negativity around immigration has occurred because people follow the narrative of people are running away. It needs to stop. People are not running away. People want to get a better life. And when they get what they want, people are actually moving back. It's just unfortunate that the highlights of people that are moving in has overshadowed the ones that are leaving the country.
Wow.
Yeah, because people move back to Nigeria every day. You understand?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people move back because when they're like, okay, you know what? I think I've gotten to my goal. Then let me go back and do something for myself back home.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the narrative needs to stop. Then I think then the negative experiences might now, be toned down.
Okay, so we're saying that one of the mega negative things out there is because there's this notion that people are running away.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's why I do not like to use the word JAPA, because when you say JAPA, it now means that, I'm going with no vision, with no
Yeah.
ambition, and I'm never coming back,
Yeah.
which is not true in most cases.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I couldn't agree more because you're quite right. Because people would think, that jackpot is like, oh, they're running away from something.
Yes.
And always have a perception of individuals that way. You're
Yes.
right. You're right. Okay, that's an eye opener for me. That's an eye opener for me.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I mean, what kind of? I know, ladies and gentlemen, is it because our amazing Fumz today on the show, she decided to bring this topic up today, and I was so glad because it's something that I've always wanted to talk about, and we try to have a discussion about it. But it seems like I'm asking a lot of questions because I need to find out more. This is where you guys need to help me out as well. The number is 074 956 36899. If you have a question, or if you're an individual who has done a JAPA and you're here at the moment, I would love to hear your experience as well. What has been your experience so far here in the UK? Is there anything you could change? Is there anything you wish you'd known? Is there anything you wish you'd done? It would be great to hear that. And I just love that perspective from Fumz now. You said, you know what, we need to change that narrative for individuals thinking they're running away from something, because that's really bad. Because people thinking you're running away from something, that means you're going through some hardship. That's why you're here. No, and that's something that people need to start talking about more. And you also mentioned that there are a lot of people that actually attain their goals and go back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
Okay, so for you, what has been a major culture shock?
Oh,
when you got here,
I would say one of the major culture shock when I got here was how we used to greet back home and how people greet here.
Yeah.
Because the United Kingdom is more like a mind your business and give me my privacy, please, kind of place. But back home you're like, hey, hello, how far? Guy, you know what I'm saying? You're chilling with everybody. You don't have to be my friend before I say, hey, what's up? And you get here, then you're greeting everybody, and you're like, oh my God, who is this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you're getting snubbed.
Are you weird?
Yeah, and you know how difficult it is to like get through bus routes, train routes when you get into the country. So you can imagine smiling from, hey, good morning, please. No, move back. Use your map.
Exactly. Who are you? Who are you? You're right. I mean, that for me, it's a huge culture shock. I mean, I went to a different country at some point on a holiday, South Africa, for example, and I was on the underground train. They do have an underground train, and someone said hello to me. I was like, what? I was like, what? Why is this supposed to say hello? Because for me, it's not a normal thing.
Right.
It just said hello to me, like, weird.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But it's normal for them.
Yeah.
For them to say hello, kind of thing. So I kind of looked around, like, people saying hello, that's fine. But you're quite right. Because on the underground, you say hello to someone's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Should we call the police or something?
Yeah.
Like, why is he saying hello to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yes, you're quite right. That's a big.
And Double Nine, I would like to point something out. So, this greeting of a thing, and I used the bus routes as an example.
Yes.
One of the things that it's okay. It's important that we talk about the benefits of these things, even in spite of how difficult it might be when you want to integrate into the system. So I talked about bus routes and how you're going to, and you're like, hey, hello, please, can you help me? Back at home in Nigeria, you don't have to do a lot of critical thinking before you get anything done. It's just, hey, Double Nine, could you please help me do whatever? And do this. But because they have to force you to check your map, you understand? In my mind, I'm like, yes, I did geography in secondary school, but I do not know anything about maps. Please just tell me, do I move front or turn back? And and because I got snubbed a lot of times, I was forced to start using my maps.
Wow.
And, even on my way here today, when I was leaving home, my friend was like, do you know how to use your map now? I'm like, of course, I'm going to find my way to the stages.
Amazing.
So, so we need to point out the importance of what we see as this snubbing of a thing.
Yeah.
There are some benefits in it too.
Yes.
Because when it makes you independent.
Okay.
It makes you think independently.
Yes.
Then you don't have to lean on anybody or call people like a million times in a day because you're trying to get your way.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point that out.
Wow, I need to clap for you on that one.
Oh, thank you.
You're right. I love that because you're quite right. Because what's that happened? That culture shock has happened in a positive way. It's giving you a bit of independence, you know, to say, you know what, I can do this myself, kind of thing, which is where. But when you see other Nigerians as well, do you try and greet them?
Okay, so didn't you know, like, one of the mistakes I made when I got here was that once you look like me, once you're black, I just start speaking Yoruba.
Wow.
I'm like, hey, Ebonshek. I'm like, no, I'm not Nigerian. Oh, sorry. Oh, so what are you? Oh, I'm from Zimbabwe. Really? But you look like me.
Right,
Yeah. So
right,
so
right.
that happened a lot. So I stopped assuming that everybody I saw was Nigerian, and it just now made me reflect that maybe the people I thought, because I just had the opinion that Nigerians would always, snob you. Or maybe because they're here, then they want to prove like, oh, we don't know each other back home. However, the mistake I was making was that they were not even from Nigeria. Some were from Zimbabwe, some were from Gambia. And I'm like, okay, well, I apologize. I actually thought you were Nigerian. So I stopped assuming, and I just wait for you to talk to me. Then I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, this is my person. Then we can strike a conversation from there.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, it's wonderful to have some experiences.
Yeah.
Understand also that not every black person is Nigerian.
Yeah.
This is good. This is great.
Yes.
Because I can imagine, like, you see start speaking Yoruba to them, which is there.
Right.
I mean, but for you as well. I mean, coming over, getting being used to the amazing weather.
Oh my God! I came in September, so I wasn't lucky. I would say I wasn't lucky because I came in when it was really really cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm coming from where I was coming from. You can imagine how tough it would have been for me. I would wear like 3 socks to sleep,
Amazing.
cover my head, cover my body, and I would still feel cold.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Do you miss Nigeria?
Oh yes, every day.
Oh,
Every
every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, let's touch on the fact of, you say a lot of people come here
Yeah.
and they try and achieve their goals
Yes.
and go back. I'm trying to understand how easy and how difficult can that be, or is it quite easy to do that here in the UK? Is there like a huge challenge? Because, I mean, do people just come and say, within 2 years, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go back?
So because this program, we're here to educate people to double nine, and it's
Yeah.
important that we say it as it is,
Yes.
however
very
sensitive it is, and let people know like what it entails. That's for people back home and that still have the plans to move
important.
here.
Yeah.
So it depends on where you're coming from.
Right.
Depends on how your financial backing is.
Yeah.
If you do not have not so great financial backing,
Yeah.
I would say that it's possible that when you get all you need to get to move here, it might not be easy to go back in 2 years,
Wow.
because the United Kingdom is a place where rules and regulations you must adhere to them.
Yes.
You cannot get away with anything. So if you're coming in as a student, you cannot exceed your 20 hours working time. So you have to think of that minimum wage, multiply it by how much you're going to be earning every month,
Yeah.
and think of how much it's going to take you to get back the financial investment you've put into the system.
Yes.
And then now think of how much time is going to take you to get back the interest that you need to go and now start a new life back home. And when you do your math, because my math is not your math.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not going to the same schools. So whatever, so it's impossible that I give you like a rough estimate, because my reality and your reality might be different.
Exactly.
Yeah, but when you do your math, it just gives you an insight into how long it's going to take you to get back home. Because for every investment, everybody wants to get back return on investment.
Yes.
So if I've invested so much in the system to get an education that I can use back to start up a business or go run my father's company or go get a multinational company back home, then I should be able to like do a forecasting of how long it's going to take me to get my return on investment, how long it's going to take me to settle in, because the assumption is always that, oh, when you get here, then you get a house, then you start working. No. Do you have your NIN? No, you don't. No. Then you're not going to get, because it happened to me.
Wow.
Yeah. And these are conversations that we need to have with people. There are some things that need to be put in place
Yeah.
before you can settle in. Again, I repeat, United Kingdom is a place where you have to adhere to the rules and regulations. You cannot flout any rule.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That is a huge culture shock there, and I love that you pointed that out as well. There are two things you mentioned that I want to kind of dive into a bit more.
Right.
I love it, the statement you made about my maths is not your maths.
Yeah.
Which is very important. If we look at the average cost.
If we want to go there.
Okay, the average cost of say of a family of 4, coming to the UK, relocated to the UK. How much would you say that is? You know,
We were looking at the study before we started the program in
Yes.
2022, and that was like maybe 20 million.
in 2022, yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow.
should we double it or triple it now?
Yeah, because I mean the cost of living has gone up in it, so we can possibly almost triple it, isn't it?
Yeah, we can triple it.
A family of 4.
Is it inclusive of flight fees,
Yes, I think it'll be inclusive of flight fees, visa,
accommodation?
accommodation.
Because you cannot live in a single room with a family of
a
4.
family of 4, isn't it?
And there's no room for you here when you get here. You're gonna have to stay in an Airbnb first, except you have people who have paved the way for you and gotten.
Wow.
Yeah. So these are conversations that we need to have. People get here and it's a struggle. You understand? You just think, oh, because again, it's a country that you have to abide by the rules and regulations.
yes.
There are things in place, landlord's policy, no, bring your 6 months this, bring a guarantor, which people never even talk about.
Yes.
And that's going to happen to you.
Yes. I mean, mention about the rental issues there.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to, because you're right. In most cases, you have landlords or agencies asking things around your, financial history, your working, where you currently work, and how do you intend to pay for the rent. How difficult is it, or has it been for yourself, or anyone you know?
Someone just texted the WhatsApp line and said 45 million in the average family of 4.
45 million. Wow, thank you for that. Yeah, 45 million for the average family of 4.
That's oh my God.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
So my question to that, actually before we actually get that, let's talk about the rental part of it first.
Yeah.
How difficult is it to
And it's the toughest thing. And like I say, my reality and your reality are 2 different things. If you
Yes.
have people like already hitting the ground and running for you before you come into the country, they might be able to help in like putting the word through for you and standing as guarantors for you. But I myself had a bit of struggle when it came to outcome. I was going from London to my school because I don't school in London.
Yes.
So and you can imagine how tough that was.
Yes,
And before I
yes.
could get my place and before I could settle in, before I could get my place within my budget at the time that I was leaving the country to the UK.
Amazing. But we don't, a lot of people don't consider this, isn't it? They don't think about
We just think, oh, just come, just get a job and
get a
start
job
working.
and start working.
Yes.
Just think about the pound sign.
Oh yeah.
The pound signs is coming in.
Oh my God.
I know it's like the funny bit. It was like, now you're here, and I'm sure you got friends back home or family back home. or something,
Yes.
asking, Fumz, can you send us £100?
Thank you.
know,
One of
I need-
my friends sent me messages and she was like, "Oh, I need to start going to Western Union. You need to start, dropping money for me." I'm like, I just said, "Are you funny? What are you saying?"
I know. Like seriously, I'm sure because back then, maybe when you're younger, maybe you had your uncles here.
We're so judgmental.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that stingy uncle in London.
Yes.
Oh, now you're the stingy uncle and auntie.
Yes, you know what I mean. So I mean, it's the reality, isn't it? I mean, let's quickly go back to that point.
Right.
The 45 million for a family of 4. 45 million is
It's sick.
it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge decision to make.
Right.
I mean, why wouldn't you invest that money in a business back home? Is it like it wouldn't work, or it's like a risk, or why take that huge risk?
So the risk back home in investing that kind of money is very high, given how the currency, everything fluctuates.
Yeah.
I think that people would rather invest in something different, like come here,
Yeah.
get education, then go back home and use and apply the knowledge they've gotten here to make the country better or do whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like the risk is lesser here because there's a system that works,
Right.
and you know that if I'm going to spend 9 months to do my masters in whatever, my 9 months is 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the 45 million is always going to be 45 million.
Right.
However, in the naira, the 45 million
Can change.
it will change. Yeah, so
Okay. Okay. I mean, that makes it does a bit of sense. Okay, JAPA, on a scale of 1 to 10, don't give me an answer yet. If you could advise someone, I don't want to answer yet. I'm going to ask for the answer towards the close of the show.
right.
If you could tell someone on a scale of 1 to 10 that asks you, should I JAPA what would you say? I don't want to answer yet.
Okay.
I want to answer.
Thank you for stopping me. I was going to open my mouth and start talking.
I know. So the phone lines are open. It's 074 956 368 999. Again, some texts in towards that she just mentioned earlier. It's 074 956 368 999. You can call us direct on that number, send a text, or call via WhatsApp as well. So, I mean, now the culture shock is there. Issues around accommodation is a challenge. Things around finding your own kind of people is another challenge as well. Yes, we talk about infrastructure. Yes, we talk about the rules and regulations as well. How hard has it been to understand some of the rules and regulations?
Oh my God, it's been so hard. And so I'm going to give a bit of context here. When I got into the UK, and there was this day that we're doing fire drill. Of course, we do fire drill back at home in Nigeria, but you just stroll out and strut, and there's nothing happening.
There's nothing happening.
Who's going to stop me? So, but this time around, people took the fire drill seriously, and I fell from the stairs.
Oh my God.
Down flat.
No.
And I had like...
That's another fire drill on its own.
And I had like a twist in my ankle, like, oh my... In my mind, I'm like, that's it, I'm gone. And you know that in all of this, nobody touched me.
Yikes! Yes.
I was sad. I don't want to use the word. I was intensely. I was like, nobody's carrying me. Then I just felt a tap on my shoulder, and the person like, let me help you your bag. Let me test it. And the person took me out, and of course they put me on the stretcher and they did what they had to do. But how hard has it been to abide by the rules and regulations? That's one of it. If the reverse were the case, I would pick the person up.
Yes.
However, I didn't know at the time that if you're not qualified to give first aid or anything, leave the person alone.
Yes.
This stuff that we do back home that we take, taking
the responsibility.
An unfortunate incident happened, some months back. Of course, we don't really have to go, so we don't divert too much. And, people started, bringing up this like theory that maybe if there was like a qualified person to attend to this person, maybe the person wouldn't have lost their life.
Right.
Because there were so many people crowded over this person's body and they were not giving the person the necessary assistance the person needed. So how hard is it to abide? It's very hard. If it comes to like binning items, that one was easy for me because of course back home I don't bin anyhow. But people who back home, they're in the public transport and they throw their gala wrapper or their lacasera bottle on the main road, and the next car crushes it. When you get here, it's a different ballgame. You can't do that. You'll look silly. Like, excuse me, can you pick that up? So it's tough. But if you've had a bit of sanity back home, it's going to be a bit easier for you to integrate. And you start looking at it like, oh, nobody's doing it, then don't do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. You're quite right. I mean, the point you made about, yes, you have to be qualified to pick people up, because what can happen is if you're not qualified, you pick the person up and maybe the person falls off. You can get sued or you can get blamed, and we don't want that. Okay, I mean, let's look at some the positive side of JAPA, because I mean, one of the positive things is we got amazing films in the studio here,
right,
giving us a bit of insight. So we got some insight from an individual called D. He's into software engineering in Germany. He said he left Nigeria because he wanted to experience some new ways of life and understand what the perspective is out there, and he's saying that 70% of his expectations has been met. And his experiences have changed, which is true. I think, someone to get a corporate job, he's a software engineer in Germany. I think that helps as well. He stays connected with Nigerians through his church. I think a lot of people do that as well. Because the church is predominantly made up of Nigerians and Ghanaians, and he follows the news outlets. Obviously, technology is there. In terms of how he views Nigeria and its many problems, it's not completely bad at the moment, he says, but he loves that he's moved on to that. And in terms of social causes and positive impact in people's life, he believes Nigerians in diaspora can help a lot in two ways: financially and through the use of social media. Who's going to help you financially?
Nobody.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and his advice to Nigerians, we'll come back to that. I don't want to say that too much about that. Okay, just picking up the response from D there, who's a software engineer. I think that's a unique case, because if you have a corporate job, it helps you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what is a pathway for if you thought about it? Okay, someone is listening now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to JAPA as well. I have a spare 52 million
Mm-hmm.
naira or 42 million. If you do, let me know. Somewhere.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, Fumz is saying, oh, wow, I want to come. What would you say to them then?
I would say come, but do your math
Yes.
and do not expect, because okay, then like we keep talking about um a system that works here and they have like their rules. Unlike back home when you can just call an uncle of an uncle and a friend of a friend and say, oh, put in the word for me here.
Yeah.
I studied software engineering. Oh, then come and head this company. It doesn't work that way here. You have to pay your dues, show your workings, which is you have to make sure that you have the necessary training. The pathway would be that when you're in university, if you come in for masters, which is what I'm quite experienced in, I don't
Yeah.
know, through the job route. If you're coming through with to study,
Yeah.
make sure that you start taking up volunteering roles in
Amazing.
in your employer vocational. They have a lot of them in school. Then there are a lot of networking events that they
yeah.
do that really really make sense. Like start to familiarize yourself with your potential employers. Do not on I don't want to use the word, do not overlook those events. Those events are actually pathway to you getting corporate jobs. I know a lot of times, like especially for those of us that just moved in for the past 3 years,
Yeah.
we look at these events and like, oh please, what are they going to give me money? I would rather go do my shift and all that. But I'm telling you that the mistake people make is ignoring these events, and by the time they are done with university, they now want to get that corporate job automatically. But no, you've not invested in getting the necessary skills and networking with the right people. Join the professional membership of that profession you want to get into, that industry.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Follow them on LinkedIn, look for the industry shakers and go for these industry events. You understand? That's one of the highlights and advantages of moving to places like this. You can actually walk up to these people and have conversations with them and pick up volunteering roles typically.
Amazing. You have to give a round of applause there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that is right, because it still brings us back to the point of, the society makes you more independent.
Yes.
Because, back in Nigeria or any other African country, there's this reliance on individuals, on connections.
Yes.
Oh, my uncle's going to do
Yes.
that. My brother knows this. My
Yes.
mom knows that. My dad knows that.
Yes.
Over here, it kind of like change the perspective a bit and makes you think, you know what, I can do this. And what you just said there about going ahead, taking that first step, going to those events, networking, it's really amazing. I mean, we have another response from Victor here. It's, studying masters in the UK. He left Nigeria so he could get better access to opportunities. Currently studying masters in the UK. It's aligned with his personal and professional goals. One of the things that he mentioned about the culture shock is the independence nature of people.
Oof.
Which
Yeah.
things you mentioned as well. Everyone is used to doing things on their own and they mind their business
Oh my
as well.
God.
This is different from the strong communal feeling in Nigeria. Yes, it is. It is. He says strongly believes that Nigeria is going to get better
I believe so too.
as well. He also gave an advice. He says that advice, he wants to leave the country. You should not think that once you JAPA, problems will cease to exist.
That's true.
Exactly. Problems will always be
Yeah.
there as well. And that's another individual
Yeah.
who has a corporate job as well. And Fumz has also given us an indication of how you can get into that corporate field as well. So, I mean, the expectations, yes, of you coming here and living a cozy life, picking up the pounds on the trees, no, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist as well. Yes, there's the rules and regulations over or back home are not always adhered to, but over here you always have to adhere to that as well. The culture shock of saying hello to someone on the underground is like, are you okay, mate? What?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Are you all right? No, don't talk to me.
Use the map.
You know what I mean? Use the map as well. But it is what it is. I mean, on that note as well, would you say, has there been some level of racism?
Ooh, this is so.
Because when people hear,
touchy.
I know, we're not going into too much
Yeah.
there, but it's something. It's Candid Expression
Okay.
Sunday. We talk about.
Yeah,
it.
that's okay.
It's like because people would hear a bit of your accent and think, oh, she's African, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know.
So I feel like, okay, so I belong to a school of thought that actually believes that if you do not think that something is there, you can, even if this thing is there, you can unthink it.
Yes.
So much so that when this thing stares in your face, it's like it's not there. So I used to hear about it.
Yes.
It hasn't happened to me, in all honesty.
Okay. Good thing. Good
Not
thing.
maybe not yet. Maybe it's going to happen. I don't know. And this is not to invalidate anyone's experience if it's happened to them. However, for me, I think that it still falls under culture shock.
Right.
And sometimes, because I said something in the beginning, these people just want to be on their own.
Right.
They do not like the chitty chatty Nigerian. They don't like that. So it's possible that when you think that they should, when they act standoffish, it's not that they are acting standoffish. It's just that we don't have to talk, and they're like that with their people too. Like, what do we have to talk about? I was commending one of the things I've seen here, that even if the smile is fake,
Yeah.
you still see people smile.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Everybody tries to smile to make you feel comfortable.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But so I do not. It might be there. People say, "Oh, in the bus, they don't." I don't want. I don't. I really would. One thing I want to be conscious and want to do consciously in like my time on earth is that even if these things are there, I do not want to be a party to fueling it.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I mean, I've heard sayings or people saying things like, "I didn't know I was black until I came to the UK." Do you know what I mean? I didn't know what racism was until I came here as well.
But Double Nine.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. If
Go
you
on.
and I met on the streets of Lagos
Yes.
and you were in the public bus
Uh-huh.
and there's so many seats all around,
Yes.
and I choose not to sit down with you and I sit somewhere else, would you think that I'm being
No,
racist?
your thought process would not even go there.
Exactly. So these are
yeah.
the ways I want my people to approach these things. And again, I'm not invalidating anybody's experiences, but I need to know that it's a different culture.
Yes.
And that they don't want to be like this doesn't mean that there's anything there. Do you get?
Amazing.
And we need to extend a bit of grace to. Sometimes I'm like, like. Anyway, I'm not going to go here, but
Yeah.
So, but so it might be there, but I've not experienced. I've been with a lot of graceful people who have helped me.
Yeah.
I've been, I've even had someone stand up for me before. Who's
Wow.
not a black person.
Wow.
I said, "Oh, young lady." I'm like, "Oh, really? Yeah, you know why? You take my seat." And this is me being honest. This person stood up for my friend and I.
Wow.
And he's an elderly person.
Oh,
and
wow.
So yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. If an elderly person stood up for you
Yeah.
on a bus
Yeah.
in Lagos,
What?
would you say?
You dare not.
Would you say?
Yeah.
Exactly.
No.
I mean, it's a great approach. It's a great way to look at it and think. You know what? It's not always that. You're correct. I love the example you gave. Like, if someone, go on a bus, there's no seats, and this happens somewhere in Lagos, and it not sit beside you. Would you think it's racism? I understand that. Again, as you rightly mentioned, we're not invalidating
No, we're not.
anyone experiences, because people do experience certain things out there. And also brings me to remember when an individual I met, like I said, a couple of years ago or something, and it was asking me, every time I go out there or say hello, they always say, "Hello, love. You're right, love."
Oh my God!
And
Are
the
you
guy-
right, lovely? Are you
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. And the guy said to me, "Is it because they love me?"
No, they don't.
I'm like,
They
I'm
don't
like-
love you.
I'm like, mate, it's not,
No,
don't even
do
try.
that to yourself. Oh my God!
Don't even try it.
And
You know.
like Double Nine.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if we need to highlight the good things that happen
Yeah,
to.
yeah, we do,
And
we
of course,
do.
this is not being a pick me, or this is not being a like someone who just wants to But when you say when you have. Hello, darling. Hello, lovely.
Yeah.
It just makes you feel warm. Like, okay, even if I'm going to make mistakes, I'm allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
don't worry, it's all right. Do you need help? I'm like, oh, really? Back home, it's a different ball game. Madam, I beg, open your,
You know what I mean?
open your eyes.
Open your eyes. You're right. 'Cause
Yeah.
when he told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, don't even try it. It's just
Yeah.
a saying. It's just a saying. It's not to mean they love you or anything. But again, it's good to highlight the the good sides, and the things people experience which are positive as well. I mean, all in all, as you mentioned, it's something that people go through. It's something that people experience, and people have different experiences. But with that as well, you're moving from a totally different culture, because we've identified from the responses we got from a couple of people there, moving away from a culture and moving into somewhere totally different. I mean, how do you handle that mentally? I mean, the mental health issue is a lot of things that people don't talk about, because we hear a lot of people saying, talk about loneliness, not being able to integrate properly.
Yes.
Yes, you go to church as well, and try, but a lot of people just suffer in silence. I mean, what advice would you give to people that might have that kind of experience, or have experienced that in the past?
The first thing I'll say, and like my friends would always say that, your toxic positivity is, then stop doing this. But honestly, it's what has worked for me for the longest time in my life, and it was what I did, because when I was coming here, I said I was going to be really, really open minded, and I was going to make sure that I was going to do it differently.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fly over that long distance to now come here and now put myself in intense loneliness.
Yeah.
The good thing about this part of the world is that there are resources online, not books, help like community, and where you can join.
Yeah.
And
Amazing.
you can volunteer. I keep going back on volunteering.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the easiest place for you to make friends. And like I always say, like, don't do these things because the purpose is for you to make friends.
Yeah.
Do it because you want to give back to the society. Do it because you want to make a difference, and see how things would fall in place for you. The easiest place to find that kind of community most times, school, this job fairs, volunteering opportunities, and churches sometimes. Not everybody's religious. That's why I don't want to touch on churches. But I feel like just be ready to be active and do something. It's not a place where people come and meet you. Again, like, we're adults.
Yes.
If you came in when you were like below 5, you're going to have friends.
True.
And you're going to have mixed friends too.
Yeah, you're right.
But we're adults, set in our ways, ego and everything. Oh, who's that one? I'm not going to talk to that one. Who's this one? And guys, it does not have to be a member of your community before you feel like, okay, this is someone I can talk to. Yes, they might understand you better, but however, give everybody a chance, like be open-minded too, or the like friendship coming from, and again, like just participate in anything that you can. Like there was a day I just at home and I was like, oh, you know what? I just googled communities where I would find this, that, because I love to color, I love to do a little bit of painting, and I got into those communities, and you can, during your leisure time, you can always get into that kind of system. Talk to people that have like common interests, like you. Then you move it from there.
Amazing.
So not to say that the loneliness thing does not happen.
Yeah.
But it's normal because you've been used to a certain type of life.
A certain type of life,
and you're not moving to something different. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, good. Thank you for that. That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of those things. People move and people, emigrate, come into different cultures. As Fumz rightly mentioned, her calculator is not your calculator. A lot of people come in here and say, within 2 years, 3 years, I want to achieve something. I think we still possibly might need to dive in a bit more into other aspects around the JAPA syndrome. We just talked about expectations, reality. Maybe on another episode, we look into more of the reality and the huge challenges that a lot of people experience, because there are loads of stories out there. We have stories about family members coming here, selling everything and coming here and not being able to realize or achieve what the expectation was. And we have people who come here as a couple, then end up going to a divorce, and crazy stories out there. But also, on the other hand as well, we do have success stories of individuals who have done great, who have achieved amazing things as well. But the thing is that is not heard more. Most of the things we hear is more about the negatives. The negatives, the negatives about stuff is overshadowing the positives as well. So I mean, look out for another episode regarding
Yeah.
the JAPA syndrome. But I remember I had a question for
Yes.
your Fumz. My question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, if you could advise someone, or if someone calls in or ask you a question and says, Fumz, I've got 45 million somewhere with my family. I want to make a move. What would you say?
The first thing I'll say is that what's your reality like at the moment? If you have 45 million naira in like back home, what are you doing? Why do you want to do this now? Why do you want to move? And I try to like put their mind in the right space, that I hope you know that if you put your 45 million naira here, you're not getting it in the next 5 to 6 years.
Wow.
No, you're not.
Wow. So what would you say to them then? Don't come.
Split it in half.
Split it in half.
Put half in like an emergency fund, like in case it doesn't work out, then use the half to move.
Yeah.
Then if it doesn't work out, then go back to, at least you have something to fall back to.
Okay.
But don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay.
This basket is too. It's too.
It's quite risky.
Yeah.
It's a risky.
Yeah, it's a risky basket.
While you're talking, I just remembered something.
Yeah.
You were in the news at some point, weren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yes, she was in the news at some point regarding
landlords.
regarding landlords as well.
Yes.
Apparently, even on the BBC actually picked up I mean, give us a bit of an insight. About that challenge. What the issue was.
But the issue was just because I was a single woman and I was unmarried. But back home, you need to have a husband or a boyfriend to show landlords before they can let you rent a home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that wasn't happening for me. I had the money. I was in a good job, and they didn't get me the house. So I was homeless, sleeping on my friend's couch.
Can you imagine that?
Yes. So but along the line, I had to speak with some people like solicitors and maybe like a better real estate company that had a more forward thinking brand.
Yeah, very established.
Yeah, and I got the place at the end of the day. But look at the difference between that and this now.
Amazing. That's a difference, isn't it? That's a positive note,
Yes.
because that almost could never happen here.
It's never going to happen. Do you have your money?
Exactly.
That's fine. We're going to get you the
We're
house.
going to get to the house.
Yes.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause for our amazing co-host today. It's been amazing having her on the show.
Thank you,
on
Double
Candid
Nine, for
Expression
having me.
Sunday as well. She's given us a bit of a great insight into the JAPA syndrome as well. The expectations and reality. It has opened my eyes to some certain things I wasn't sure about on what happened around the JAPA stop. But it's also further increased my interest and also my curiosity to find out more about what is happening. So I think we might need to have another session or another series on this JAPA syndrome that's happening here in the UK.
Right.
Fumz,
Thank you, Double Nine.
you've been on Candid Expression Sunday.
Yes, I have.
On Double R Radio.
Yes, I have.
I mean, what are you going to say to this amazing listeners listening to you right now?
Thank you, everyone, for joining and for listening. We don't take your time for granted. And trust me, you're going to get more of this content. Just stay with us, and we're here for you.
Amazing. She's going to say it any better. Make sure you do check us out on Instagram. That's Stopping Our Radio on Instagram. Make sure you follow us. And also subscribe to our amazing YouTube channel, which you can catch up on past shows. That's Stopping Our Radio on YouTube as well. And also make sure you save our number as one of your contacts. As you know, the number is 074 956 36899. Stay locked on Stay Locked. This has been amazing. It's been your host here on Double R Radio with amazing Fumz on Candid Expression Sunday.
Yes.
This is Double 9 Radio, the best online radio station playing the best Afro